and welcome back to The Oily Life. My name is Tanya, and on this channel I like to share all things natural living, so essential oils, natural DIYs, clean living tips, just all the things that have to do with a natural lifestyle. Today we're going to be making a cold process soap. It's a full body bar, so it can be used on your whole body, plus it would be really good for your face as well, based on the activated charcoal that's in it. And I have tea tree, grapefruit, rosemary, so some great essential oils as well. So let's go ahead and make our soap. So here I have a blend of grapefruit, tea tree, and rosemary, along with some kaolin clay. The kaolin clay just helps ground the essential oils better into the soap. Sometimes essential oils don't last as long in soap as a fragrance oil would, because they don't have the chemicals in it to make them last longer, but the kaolin clay does help with that, so that's why I always try to add it into my essential oil blends. So I'm just getting that mixed in here to my batch oils, and now I'm going to go ahead and add in my lye solution. And I have added some sodium lactate into my lye solution. If you're using a silicone mold, then the sodium lactate, in my opinion, is kind of a must-have unless you have a lot of patience. I like to be able to take my soaps out of the mold after 24 hours, and I don't find that I can do that if I don't add in the sodium lactate when I'm using a silicone liner. So I don't have the patience to wait 2 or 3 days to take my soaps out, so I always add in the sodium lactate. So if you're having any issues with your soap sticking to your silicone molds, highly suggest the sodium lactate. It is an all-natural ingredient, so it's basically just salt. So definitely not anything harmful to be adding in. It's just great for those of us with a lack of patience. And now that I have my lye water blended in, I'm just splitting off a little of the oils for an accent color. So in this small container, I'm going to be adding in Snowflake Sparkle Mica from Nurture Soap. It's not really going to cause like a great color change, but it is going to add a little shimmer to it, which is what I'm going for here. And now I'm just going to give this a quick blend with my stick blender to make sure everything's incorporated really well. And now that we got that all blended in, we're going to go back to our main container here. And it's basically the rest of the soap is going to be black. So we're going to add in some activated charcoal. Activated charcoal has a lot of great skin properties, especially for your face, as far as helping to pull out impurities and dirt and things like that from your pores. So as I want this to be a whole body bar, the activated charcoal is a really nice addition to that, since you'll be using it on your face as well. And to keep it from going gray, because sometimes even with the activated charcoal, you can get a little bit of a gray color. I like to add in just a little bit of black oxide. Sorry the camera didn't focus there, but the black oxide is from Brambleberry, and I just do 2 teeny tiny little scoops. They're probably like 1/8 of a teaspoon, and that just helps it keep that nice rich black color. And I initially tried to whisk this in, which I don't know why I did that. That was a poor life choice. Activated charcoal, you definitely have to blend if you want it to really be incorporated into your soap batter. So I kind of just apparently was not thinking straight at this point, and had to move on to my stick blender because the whisk really wasn't doing anything there. And now that this is nice and blended up, I'm going to go ahead and add my accent color into this pot here. So I'm going to be doing an in the pot swirl, and I like to do it at 12, 3, 6, and 9 o'clock. And I'm just going to pour part of the batter in to start with. That way, after I've started pouring into the mold, if I notice there that the color's not going all the way through, I can add more of this accent color into my main base batter. Alright, and it is time to get this soap into the mold. I loved how this one looked when I was pouring it in. It had a really sleek look to the batter, and that black was just really, really nice. I did end up adding in, as I was saying, that additional batter because a lot of the white wasn't coming through anymore. So I'm just going to get the rest of my white into my main bowl here and then get the rest of the soap in the mold. And now that I have everything poured in, I'm just going to scrape out my containers here. Don't want to waste any soap, and it makes cleanup a whole lot easier if you scrape your containers out as much as possible. So just going to get everything scraped out and we'll move on to the top. So I wanted to keep the top of this one pretty simple, so I'm just going to texture it a little bit with my spoon. I started off doing the little, side swish thing, but then I decided I didn't really like how that looked and just went for a more textured look across the whole top of the soap. And then once I get this where I like it, I'm going to add on some safflower petals. They just add like a little touch of brightness to the top of the soap. I'm also going to be adding in some glitter. And this glitter I'm adding on is Black Onyx from Nurture Soap. It is one of their Enviro glitters, and I love the way the black glitter and the little bits of silver in it look on top of the black soap. So I thought that was a really awesome touch, and I loved how it turned out. And then just to, like I said, add that little pop of color, I'm going to be doing the safflower petals down the sides of where each of the loaves will be. And I think the red just pops really well off the black. And now I'm just going to finish getting these petals on, and then we're going to let this set up for 18 to 24 hours, and I'll bring you in for a close-up. Alright, and we are back to cut, and look how amazing this soap turned out. I love that sparkle on the top, and the top is so nice and shiny. The safflower petals turned out perfectly. The main bar kept that nice dark black color. It didn't lighten up on me too much. So I was super happy with this whole bar of soap. The fragrance, or not the fragrance, the essential oil blend also stayed really well. I never would have thought to try rosemary, tea tree, and grapefruit together, but it was a blend I found on eocalc.com. That's a great website if you're not familiar with it to find different essential oil blends, and it can also help you out with determining the usage rates for your essential oil blends, since they do vary so much. But yeah, definitely love how it's smelling. I think the pot swirl turned out really nice as well. I don't know. I guess it could give you a little bit of a cow feel with the black and white, but I just liked it because there was so much contrast. I think it made the black stand out even more. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. I did cut these bars a little bigger than I typically do for this particular mold. I just kind of wanted to try out a different size. So these are a little bit of a chunkier bar, but I'm going to kind of play around with my sizing some and just see kind of what I like the best. So when I'm recording this voiceover, it's December 7th, and can I tell you guys, I am so far behind on my holiday shopping for this year. Usually at this point, I am basically finished. I've barely started this year. Do you already have all of your holiday shopping, or are you getting a later start than usual this year? I don't know if it's just me or not, but would love to hear where you're at with all of your holiday shopping in the comments down below. Not really sure what's made this year different than years in the past. I probably have been busier, so I guess I can attribute it to that. You know, I've just had a lot more orders coming in, and I did some extra workshops and holiday classes, things like that for my essential oil business this year that I haven't done in the past. So I've been pretty busy, but yeah, I definitely need to get my rear in gear if I'm going to get all of my holiday shopping done before Christmas actually gets here. And I do have to say, I think this has absolutely been one of my favorite tops of soaps I've done in a while. And it's super simple. It's nothing, you know, fancy or extravagant, but I kind of think that's what made this one special. Your soaps don't always have to be big and over the top. They can be simple and pretty in their own way, with just some either texture to the top or botanicals, or based on the colors you use. You don't always have to, you know, add all the frosting or embeds in for it to be a pretty soap. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, definitely give it a big thumbs up, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye!